And the first question out of my mouth, it's not going to be cute. There's going to be no small talk. There's going to be nothing like that. In fact, if you want to engage in small talk, that's going to happen to you. Going to get rid of you. We need to connect on a different level. And it's going to sting a little bit. I don't mind telling you, if you call the number, be prepared. Be prepared. But I want to connect with you guys. And it's going to catch you off guard. That first question, hopefully, is going to catch you off guard. And that's exactly why I'm doing this. I want to be here and I want to connect with people on a different level. And I want to meet you in a place where both of us are uncomfortable. And I want you to be able to ask me questions. It's not an interview show with you guys as well, but we're going to start from a specific place. All right? I don't like small talk. Small talk for me is for people who are kind of afraid to connect on a deeper level. And let's not waste our time by keeping small, surface level conversations. I want to feel it. And I want you guys to feel it as well. And don't flinch. Don't dodge that first question. Just answer the first question honestly, and then we're going to go from there. And I promise you we're going to go somewhere. We're going to go someplace, I hope, real, and a place that you were not expecting to go today. Hopefully somewhere better. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Let's take a
Dave
second.
from Pensacola.
Thank you, Dave. What do you see when you look into the mirror?
That's a great question. I see the same guy I've been since I was probably 15 years old, except with a little bit more wear and tear.
All right.
But for the most part, I like who I am.
That's what I was going to ask you. Are you happy with that? Do you see somebody who maybe fell short on some things, or are you just, like you said, you're just happy who you are, and that's great. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think we all fall short for sure.
What's one of the biggest things you fell short on?
So I did a career in the Navy.
Thank you. By the way.
Oh yeah, no, it was my pleasure. I did a career in the Navy, but it didn't go as long as I would have liked it to go, and it probably, for varying reasons, it didn't take the trajectory that I would have wanted.
And
so
what happened?
That's a regret.
And what happened there?
You know, it was partially me just being a pig-headed guy. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. When I was in the Navy, I wanted to go to sea, and I had people telling me, "Hey, man, you know, if you want to make this a career, you have to kind of play the game, and you know, you have to be stationed in Washington D.C. You have to be, you know, you have to do you have to check some boxes."
Yeah.
And I didn't always listen to advice like that, so there was that.
Yeah.
And I also butted heads with some supervisors, and I let them know how I felt in a less than polite way on a few occasions. So, yeah.
You've got to be somewhat proud of that, though, don't you think? I mean, I know that that's turned into some regrets, and maybe you could have gone further, and maybe your stubbornness, let's just call it that, which I think is a great trait, by the way. Maybe some of your stubbornness, you know, affected your trajectory, but at the same time, you kind of stood up for yourself. You got to feel pretty good about that.
I do. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have, in hindsight, I've been retired 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not, in hindsight, I would not have done anything different than I did.
Man, I wish I was in your shoes, man. I always have these types of thoughts in my mind at night. I'm just laying in bed at night going, what the hell is happening? Where did I not necessarily go wrong? I'm very happy where I am right now, but I often wonder where else I would be. And do you think that's a waste of time to think that way?
You know, So I listen to you every day. I'm when I do the drive into work and stuff. I'm still working, by the way. I'm not fully retired. Um, but I listen to you guys all the time, and you're clearly one of the guys that is probably the most introspective of the morning show here.
Almost to a fault, but okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, so I'll say this: it's not a waste of time if you're looking back on things and kind of learning about, maybe stuff that you didn't think of at the time, and now you're just like, oh man, I wish I had thought of this. I wish I had thought of that. I wish I had done that. But, that saying about wishing and which hand fills up first. It's like that.
Yeah.
You can't go back in time. There's no such thing as time travel.
Yeah.
You have to, at the bottom line is you gotta just see where you're at. That where you are today, right this second, is the sum total of every decision you've ever made. Some decisions that you should have made, you didn't.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
No, I love this conversation. I love the advice because even though my life has turned out fantastic, I was on this trajectory, when I was doing stand-up comedy. And and all of my friends, were all these guys that ended up making it, and I pussed out. Doing stand-up comedy. I got to a point where I was afraid to try new jokes. I had my 20 minutes that worked, and I was afraid to try something that wasn't going, that would flop. When I knew that I had a good joke, why would I, and I started to get bored, and I started to do that. And I often wonder, because all the guys, to a T, everybody that I grew up with doing comedy with has just crushed it. But I ended up doing radio, and I ended up doing this, and I never would have met my wife. I never would have met you. I just think that, you're right. Things are for a reason, but sometimes it's hard to swallow what that reason is, man.
So. Yeah. I feel your, there's frustration there sometimes, but, honestly, I go back to, where I am now, living here in sleepy little Pensacola. I never would have thought that I would have been here had I not jumped into the great abyss and joined the Navy. I joined late. I was 26 when I came in.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I did a full career. I was in retail. I was miserable. I had to get out. I had to do something else, and I was just like, how bad could this be? Best decision I ever made. And I met an entire legion of amazing people and had amazing experiences, traveled the world that I never would have had. Sometimes you just have to kind of hold your nose and jump in and see what happens,
Yeah, that's true. So out of all the people that you've met, or all the things that happened to you after you had that moment, like I pissed a few people off. I ruffled some feathers. I have to leave what could be a great career for me.
Yeah.
What is the best thing that came from that? The best thing that came from it?
Well, not to sound like a Navy recruiter, but the Navy gave me a house. It gave me an education. It gave me life experience. It gave me confidence, which I didn't have when I came in. I'm a child of alcoholism, so that really crushes your self-confidence as a kid. You don't know what you're capable of because you feel like a loser sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah, I know that. My parents, they weren't alcoholics, but I didn't see a lot of love in the house, and it kind of, I think it hardened me a little bit. It was like my dad was in a wheelchair. My mom was taking care of him. They both died at a very early age for me. I was 18 when my dad died, and I believe 20 when my mom died.
Okay.
So it was, that type of stuff, I guess, for somebody my age and your age, don't you think we should be over this stuff?
Uh, I mean, those are you never get over your life. You never get over your young life. It's how you got here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I'm not woe is me about any of it, but I'm just saying, like, when I got out at 20, a lot of my friends were getting promoted and stuff, and they stayed in for another 5, 6, 7 years. I have one guy who did 37 years,
Wow.
and I'm a little jealous of them because now they can retire, they can put their feet up, they can go fishing on a Tuesday if they want to. I'm still slugging it out for another few years, but I mean, again, I wouldn't have changed. I don't really sit around regretting, like, oh man, I should have done this, or I should have done that, or I should have gone play golf with this guy. Maybe he would have written me a better eval. It wasn't like that.
Yeah, I don't have those kinds of regrets, but I do have the what ifs in my life. And you're right. That's great advice. I probably shouldn't be asking myself those questions when I could use that time doing better things.
No, you were perfectly happy doing your comedy period of your life until you were just like, all right, like, I think I've run up against a little wall here. And, you could have just said, all right, I'm never going to get up there again. That was horrible. I got nervous. My stomach's all eaten up, like.
Yeah. I mean, I still do it, but only just to scare the crap out of myself now. That's the only reason to do it, because it's been so long, man.
Yep.
It's so where do you want to go? Because I kind of feel like you and I are in the same position here, that we still got to be slugging it out. And my biggest fear right now, and part of the reason why I'm doing this show, is to talk to cool people like you. But not only that, I want to prove to my wife, because we all know that I'm kind of a dreamer. And I try
Yep.
to do a lot
We
of
get that.
I try to do a lot of different things. At least I try that. I've made a lot of my dreams come true, but I tried to do a lot of different things out there. And my biggest fear right now, because we didn't have children, is that I'm not going to be able to retire, or not even retire, just take care of my wife financially when it's all said and done. We don't have kids. We don't have anybody to take care of us. And she looked at me one day, and I've talked about this before. She looked at me one day, not that long ago, and she said, I just want to have enough money to make sure that we're not abused when we get older. And the look in her eyes broke my freaking heart.
Ugh.
I was like,
Yeah.
holy fuck. So now I'm just doubling down on everything, on this and everything else. And I really love
That comes across in the morning show. It definitely comes across that you are, you're like looking around for something else that's going to, kind of take you to the next stage.
Is that a bad thing? Does that make me look horrible?
No, not at all. But it's like, so here's the thing. You live in a very pricey area.
Yeah, I do.
And by the way, I love that area. I was stationed at Whidbey Island, and
Beautiful. Yeah.
the left coast is amazing. But it's expensive. You
Yes.
can, if you want to just at some point say, you know what, who knows how many years we have left, 15, 20, 25 years. I want to put my feet up. I want to, I want to walk out onto a pier and stick my feet in the water. I want to go, scuba diving or whatever. You can do that in cheaper places. I live in Pensacola. It's not super cheap, but it's definitely a lot cheaper than I grew up in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford a house where I grew up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I'm lucky that I have a house. You're right, but I can definitely downsize, and that's the plan. I mean, that is the plan.
Downsizing is my mantra for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Get stuff paid off, make my life smaller, not larger, make it simpler, not more complex. And you'd be surprised at how much better you'll sleep if you just get rid of stuff and you get rid of overhead and you just kind of,
Yeah. I got you, man. Hey, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. This really means a lot.
No, not at all.
I know, and if this is the first call out of the box like this, I am so excited about doing this, and I'm so glad it was you, man.
You got nowhere to go but down after me.
I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for calling and taking the time.
You are quite welcome, Terry.
Really appreciate it, buddy. Have a great
Have a
rest
good
of the
night.
week. You too, man. All right. Bye. How cool is that? How cool is that? That's what I want this show to be. I want to meet people. I want to throw that question out there, and I want to connect on a better level. That we got right to it. It was so, that was, oh man, I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps thinking about this. Anybody else want to try it? Hey, what's your name?
Clay.
Clay, you're here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see here. Who's the person in your life that you trust the least?
Trust the least?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was a former boss, I think, probably because he made my life a living hell.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse my language, but seriously, like he did everything he possibly could to make like the work situation incredibly cringe. I don't know. But I mean, it was just bad. It was just bad. I quit that job, and like 6 other people after I quit, I was the brave one to quit the job. Like 6 or 7 people in that same week quit with me. Like it was crazy.
How important is a job to you, or having a job that you like?
First and foremost, being happy is like that's more important to me than having, say, the right job or the like what people think you might, oh, he's got a really cool job and a nice big house and stuff. I would rather be happy because I have worked so many jobs in my life. It's not even funny. I've been anything from I worked as a zookeeper, picking up crap all over the place, to being cool. Yeah. And then, I'm a art director. Like that's what I went to college for, but like I've done everything you could possibly think of, like roofed, like plumbed, like, dug ditches, so,
I'm a big believer that your job doesn't define who you are. And in my job, it's pretty tough because I'm always Terry of the Lex and Terry show.
I know, but that's what I look forward to every single morning, dude.
No, trust me. I love that part of my life, but I don't want that to define who I am, because it did at one point. And when I bought into being Terry of the Lex and Terry show, my life unraveled. It was brutal. It was one of the most uncomfortable times in my life. I would lay around on the couch, getting depressed and fat, it's crazy. And I think that people put too much emphasis on what they do as who they are, because you're at a party and people are going to go, "What do you do? What do you do, Clay?" It's that small talk stuff. And I don't like that at all. I'm
not even like a really big talker either. I like when I do say something, which is, I'm super nervous right now.
No need to be
super nervous, because I always I text you every once in a while on Facebook and stuff, and I kind of said like, "Hey, when's the next time you're going to be in Dallas? I'd love to meet you." And you responded like I never expected you to say, "Let's do it." I mean, you said that to me. You said, "I'll be there in September," and I'm like, there's no way this guy's going to want to meet a stranger. It's kind of crazy.
Well, that's part of the reason why I like doing this. I can't tell you how many people come through Seattle to go on cruises in the summer. And I get so many messages from listeners saying, "Hey, can we meet for coffee?" And if I'm in town, I say yes every single time.
Dude.
And when I'm in Dallas, I'd love to go out for a drink with you or something.
Oh man, that'd be so freaking awesome, dude. No, you're my favorite personality on the show. Like you're so like, I'm not going to try to like say that the other people are not cool or anything, but they are. That's what makes the dynamic so awesome. That's why there's so many millions of people that listen to y'all. But your mindset and like your highbrow, like comedy, like the way you think and what you say is like what makes that show pop to me. That's just my opinion, but like,
No, I appreciate that. And everybody on our show has their own supporters and fans
yep.
and their own
Oh yeah.
and their own detractors as well. So no,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So
Yep.
what's one of the where are you headed next in life? What's the biggest challenge that's facing you right now? I know you're
I really
nervous.
don't.
I get it. I
Yeah,
understand.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one of the major milestones I'm working with right now, it really doesn't actually have anything to do with me. It has something to do with my wife. She has worked her way up from being like a apprentice to owning her own business as like one of the very top famous hairstylists in our area.
Wow, that's awesome.
So she just opened up her very own salon, and I've been helping her try to get that going because I'm a graphic designer. I've done her logos, I've done her website, the website. I've done like all her social media to get her going and stuff, and it blew up. And she makes probably 4 times as much money as me. And I don't really care. I'm just happy for her that she is doing so well. I will always be just the background guy for her and just be a supporter. I could care less if I am the more famous person or like makes more money. I mean, I love her, and I just want to support her and try to get, like her going,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that a lot of that is missing in today's day and age, especially with couples. I've been married for 32 years now. And there was a time that
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. And there's a time that Shari was the one that was making all the money.
Yep.
When I met Shari, the first thing I said to her, because I was so tired of trying to pretending I was somebody I wasn't,
Right.
I was so tired of going, oh yeah, I'm this guy, that type of thing. and and I remember it like it was yesterday when we sat on the couch. I'm going, oh, she's pretty hot, and all this stuff. But I was in no mood to date anybody. I was in a job that I wanted to be out of. I was living in a part of the world that I didn't want to be in. I mean, my life was hell. And I remember sitting there and I decided, you know what? She's super attractive, but I'm just gonna lay it on the line. And I said, listen, I was an out of work actor. I've made some really bad decisions financially. I have my credit rating is horrible. I'm an absolute mess. But I got a lot of dreams, and I'm going to make them happen. And I remember she sat there and looked at me, because here's a chick who's, I don't know if you've seen her or not, but she's beautiful. And and here's somebody who's probably heard all the pickup lines in the world, And when I said it that way, I remember her leaning back on the couch and smiling and going, well, if we continue to see each other, this is something I believe we could really work our way through together. And I was like, oh my God. And for a while there, she was the one that was working, keeping us afloat. I got the job in Jacksonville with Lex. And then she waited probably another 6 months almost to move there. I thought she wasn't going to come. I thought she was going to, the whole thing. And it just worked out great. So
that's it.
So
it was meant to be.
Yeah. And what you're doing is fantastic. I commend you in that. And I hope your wife gives you the credit for supporting her dream, because a lot of people there is that competition, and there's always going to be people in her ear going, what's he doing, that type of stuff.
Oh, there is. There's so much hate out in the world right now. It's crazy. When somebody actually, becomes popular in even just a certain area. I live in northeast Louisiana, which is in the middle of nowhere. Like, that's an in-between spot of like vacations and stuff. Mm-hmm. No one goes there on purpose.
The in-between spot.
Really. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, no one comes to Monroe, Louisiana or whatever. Uh-huh. But I listen to you on Rock 106.
Cool.
And she became a pretty famous hairstylist in that area. But even in that small area, she gets hate because she got popular. And I just think that people just need to chill, the F out,
People don't like anybody who's succeeding. And I hear this comment all the time, and and it's kind of a cheesy comment, but it's partially, I think it's a lot of it's true. If you're happy with your own life, you don't have time to troll somebody. You don't have
Nope.
time to root against somebody. You know,
That is definitely true.
well, congratulations to you, Clay. Congratulations to you. Give her a plug right now if you want to give her a plug on her business. You don't have to.
Okay, so
All right.
I mean, hey, I mean, I will. I mean, that's what I've been doing for the past 3 months. I mean, we've been like rocking and rolling, getting her new place started. Her name is Chastity McCaskill, and she has just opened up her new salon, Brush Studio, and she's in Monroe, Louisiana, and she's one of the best hairstylists ever. So
That's awesome. I love the love that you have for her. I love the fact that you're a dude who wants to see her succeed, and she needs somebody like that. And no matter
Yes, she
who
does.
you are in life, no matter whether you're the guy or the girl, the breadwinner or whatever it is, you need that
Yep.
person that's cheering you on all the time, and who also is going to be honest with you and say, you know what, maybe your handle
Oh,
is yeah.
I'm super honest with her. I think that's why she keeps me around, because I'm super honest with her, and I'll tell her when something's crap and when something's working. So,
Yeah,
you know,
great. Well, how do you feel about the conversation? You were nervous. How do you feel that went? You happy?
I love you, Terry.
Well, back at you, man.
I mean, I know
appreciate
you don't have a
Clay.
clue who I am, but I
You're
grew
Clay.
up with you. Yes, I am. I know. I'm just saying, like, I have grew up listening to you since I was like, you know, in my teens, and I'm 45 right now. So
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. And
okay,
have a great rest of the week. And
yes,
have a
sir.
happy 4th. Be safe. And give your wife my best, okay?
All right. Yeah, y'all have you have a good day.
Thank you, Clay.
All right, bye, man.
All right. 2 great calls today. And I really, I don't want to get too excited about something, but this made me feel good. This made me feel good. And if it made you feel good, please like and subscribe and share and do all that stuff to try to keep this thing alive. I just, this idea I've been kind of afraid to do. I've been thinking about it for quite a while. I've been wanting to do all the right things about it. You know, do it the right way that they want you to do on YouTube and all that. I will be turning the best calls into a podcast as well. So, but I got to learn how to edit. I got to learn how to do all that stuff. But the one thing the biggest fear is the phone going to work? And are people going to understand and have the balls to call and to go to a deep level right out of the box? And our first 2 guys did a great job. So thank you to you guys. And I want you guys to have a great night. Thank you for being here. And I really do appreciate you. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.